The incentives when running a YouTube channel on crypto are really not very well aligned. When we talk about a cryptocurrency like Pudgy Penguins and we try to analyze the data in an objective form, so we don't just hype the asset, we don't just tell anybody buy this thing right now, then this tends to not necessarily be well received by everybody. Because here's the thing, most people that watch videos on the Pengu token tend to also be investors in the asset. Thus, when we talk something negative, potentially not flattering about the asset, this is not received very well. Most people are searching for confirmation bias. They're not looking for the truth, or at least for an objective view on something. Now, I'm not saying this without reason, because in the early days when Pengu was discussed on this channel, I was mainly bullish. And so the like to dislike ratio was around 97–96%, but recently I got rather bearish. And have a look at this like to dislike ratio. 86% over here, 89% over here, again 86%. And I can kind of understand it, right? When I make a video with the title Crash Incoming, why Pudgy Penguins will fall 50%. This might sound a bit clickbait, and yes, it did receive at least the average number of views on this channel. But again, this title wasn't chosen for no reason. Since that video came out, we went from 4.5 cents to currently 3 cents. This is not yet a 50% decline, only 33%, but still. Let's give it a few more days, potentially weeks, and see what happens. Now, I personally don't have a problem with getting a dislike on a video. The issue is that the algorithm takes this into account, and the more dislikes there are on a video, the less the video gets spread. Thus, as per default, you tend to get the videos served that are always bullish. That's why there are so many moon boys in YouTube, right? It's simply getting rewarded to always talk positively about an asset, and whatever thing is negative tends to get automatically suppressed, the remainder that still is there. And it's not just the algorithm, it's also the psychological effect. Because let's say the 14% that give the thumbs down, they tend to also be the loudest. Every one of his videos makes me not want to buy any crypto. Pengu, #1 hater coming at you live. Over here, dude, Pengu got an ETF pending. You're just a damn hater at this point, etc. You get the gist. But yeah, I've been in crypto for a while now. I've been running this YouTube channel for more than 4 years now. So if you appreciate that I don't back down, that I'm not just becoming part of the shilling army, then feel free, of course, to give this video a like as well to improve the like to dislike ratio. But let's get back to Pudgy Penguins and let's talk about what's likely going to happen in the future. And let's also talk about why I was so bearish in prior videos. What's actually happening with the Pengu token right now? Why is it currently declining and how much longer could this go? Here were the reasons listed in prior videos. This is the number of Pengu holders over time. So small retail on the left and the whales on the right. And most wallets tend to not buy Pudgy Penguins anymore. They bought at the beginning when the token launched, but since then they tend to take profit. Pudgy Penguins relative to Solana was also at an historical high. So that was reason number 2. And here's reason number 3. It's the market cap of Pudgy Penguins. Across all of the Solana meme coins, Pengu is the very largest one. And the question is, how much more upside is there really? Because when we buy a meme coin, it's always about risk versus reward. There's always a lot of risk involved. If we can't do another 2, 3, 4x, then why buy Pudgy Penguins? Why not simply just buy Bitcoin, Ethereum and Solana? When we take on that much risk, we need to get proper upside. And that of course hinders the growth of Pengu. It's currently at a market cap of 1.9 billion and it's still the largest of the Solana meme coins. It's very much possible that at one point we will see Pengu fall below 1 billion. We have seen similar moves for other Solana meme coins in the past. For example, have a look at this Fartcoin or Dog with Head. Fartcoin's market cap was at 2 billion, went all the way down to 900 million. Here's Dog with Head. It went to 4 billion and also went down to only 800 million. So those kind of declines happen regularly. And there seems to be an invisible ceiling somewhere around 4 to 5 billion for a meme coin. Already at 2 billion, the air tends to get quite thin already. And so while the tokenomics, so the circulating supply over time, aren't necessarily great for Pudgy Penguins, that's not necessarily the reason why the price is currently going down. Yes, there is potentially some risk that the future unlocks might already have an impact on the price right now, and that's over the counter deals. So in effect, that we have seen with Mantra DAO with the Ohm token, right? Apparently, the Ohm tokenomics weren't that bad. The circulating supply wasn't growing that much. But then CoffeeZilla found out with an interview with the founder that there had been a lot of OTC deals, so where the team sold their token already prior to the unlock at a discount to external investors that then hedged their bet with perpetual futures. They locked in the discount instantly, and then arbitrage bots take care of the spot selling and push down the price already today, even prior to the unlock. So something similar could be happening for Pudgy penguins as well, but it's unclear if that's really the effect. I actually have my doubts, but more on that in a second once we look at the funding rates on the perpetual futures, so on the bets on the Pengu price. Let's first have a look at relative valuations. Now this is Pudgy penguins just in US dollars. After the initial hype, we had a massive crash of more than 90%, then our nice recovery of more than 1000%, and now things are coming back down. I personally prefer to look at logarithmic charts, not at linear charts, because then we can actually see how the percent changes develop over time. So now this distance over here shows the same percent change as this distance over here. This is not necessarily true on a linear scale, right? Here we don't really know. This kind of a rally is 90%, but the same kind of distance at the bottom is much more than that. So a logarithmic chart is more useful to find out how much ROI we can actually achieve. But this chart is still not enough, because in the end we get into an altcoin in order to get outperformance over Bitcoin, Ethereum and Solana. Right? We take on more risk with a meme coin, and that additional risk should get compensated with more performance. So in the end it's all about, do we outperform, in this case Solana, because Pudgy penguins is on the Solana chain. And so this is the Pengu token relative to Solana. Now over here we see something. We see a cross. This is when I opened a position, and a prediction. And this prediction actually was also published in one of the prior videos. But this is where I personally entered my short. So I now have vested interest in talking poorly about Pudgy penguins. So this is my disclaimer. I never take any money from any crypto project. I never take any money from any centralized exchange. And so whatever I think is currently the most likely scenario that's going to play out, this is where I personally position myself. And since I've talked about this time and time again on this channel before opening this position as well, I am now short Pudgy penguins. But I don't think that currently today is actually the best time to enter a short in Pengu, because short term it might actually be oversold. Pengu has underperformed Solana by more than 20% in the last 2 weeks. But have a look at Pudgy penguins relative to the overall market cap of all smaller altcoins. Here we see that the secondary rally actually went higher than the prior rally. Interestingly enough, we did bounce off that resistance after launch, but then we had a secondary squeeze. But since then we are coming down, and there is now a good case to be made that at least short-term Pengu could rally again, because we do have nice support, the one that had been created 1 month ago. At the same time, we are also rather at the lower end of this trading range. So from here we could easily see Pengu again outperform the rest of the altcoins by 18%, maybe even slightly more. The current momentum clearly is still bearish. I'm actually not doubling down on the Pengu short right now. I'm still overall bearish. The trend is clearly negative, but there is a good chance that we might see a short-term rally, and then I will double down. If we see Pengu suddenly rallying again against the rest of the market, that's when I add more to the short. I'm putting the money where my mouth is. So this Pengu short so far made 32K. But that's actually not entirely my gain. The position is actually made in the name of the community capital pool. So there was a time, currently the capital pool is closed, but there was a time where premium members were able to deposit their capital, and now I'm trading with that capital until the end of the year. And this is one of the positions. So now this is not 32K of gains just for me. This is the majority of gains for the people that follow here, right? For the people that support this channel. Now, if I see the danger of the Pengu token potentially rallying here by 10 or 15%, why do I still keep the position open? The reason is I still think there's a lot of short-term leverage in the asset, and currently the momentum clearly shows a deleveraging of that short-term capital. There's a good chance that the perpetual futures money will continue to get out of Pudgy penguins. Currently, there's roughly 300 million worth of bets on the Pengu price. This comes from a peak of 650 million at one point, and it's currently declining. And there is obviously a strong correlation between the spot price and the amount of open interest, or the amount of bets on the price. As there's more bets on the price, the spot price tends to go up. As there's less bets, the spot price tends to go down. And currently, we see a deleveraging. We see how money is flowing out of the asset, which might depress the price further. But again, there is some risk with the short, because sometimes a lot of the perp traders are betting on falling prices. Potentially also because of over-the-counter deals. The same that we saw with Mantra DAO and the Ohm token mentioned earlier. And so yes, I stand with my initial assessment. I do think there's a very good chance that Pudgy penguins will go down to the 2 cents, maybe even 1 cent per token. But I think entering a short position right now, betting on falling prices, is very risky. If you currently hold the Pengu token and you're considering, should I potentially sell? Maybe it makes sense to wait a little bit until we see that 5 or 10%, maybe 15% rally, and then exit. I don't think that Pudgy penguins will go to 6 or to 8 or to 10 billion in market cap. It's very unlikely. I also don't think that we will see an ETF in Pudgy penguins. It's even more unlikely. I don't see those scenarios playing out. I do think that the long term is clearly bearish for Pudgy penguins. The question is only, where is the best exit opportunity? Now, I strongly believe that most people look at crypto the wrong way. Most people just follow their altcoins on websites like CoinMarketCap. They look at the US dollar chart. They look at something like Optimism, see it's going up, they're happy. Or they look at something like Aave, it's going sideways, it's not good, it's not bad. But really, the answer whether or not an altcoin is a good investment is always in relation to something else. And once we look at the long-term price charts, we suddenly discover something that most people aren't aware of. Most people don't care about the following phenomenon enough, and that is token inflation. Most altcoins have a very quickly expanding token supply, and this website over here, Tokenomics.ai, lists the token inflation of various altcoins. Have a look at this, for example, ApeCoin. It started with 284 million ape, and now, after just 3 years, it's at 908 million ape. And have a look at how the price developed relative to the overall altcoin market cap. It was a complete disaster. And again, we're just looking at how does one altcoin do relative to the rest. Or check this out. This is Fetch AI. It started with 86 million FET token, and now it's above 2 billion. And again, here is the relative chart of Fetch AI relative to the overall altcoin market cap. So we're just looking at relative performance. Is the altcoin a good investment? And more often than not, when the token inflation is high, the answer is no. Let's have a look at a few more examples. This is DYDX, a decentralized finance protocol for perpetual futures that started with 10 million tokens and is now at 711 million tokens. So a 70x in supply. Surprise, surprise, the price is going down relative to other altcoins. Here's 1inch, another decentralized finance protocol, again with a growing supply, again the same chart. And I could go on and on. Here's Optimism, a very large layer 2 scaling solution on top of Ethereum, also declining constantly after its initial wave of adoption. The people that really make money in crypto are the venture capitalists and the insiders and the teams that develop the projects, that get the tokens, dump them on the market, dump them on the retail investor. The retail investor is left holding the bag, and that's why the altcoins tend to underperform the major cryptocurrencies most of the time. Bitcoin, Ethereum and Solana don't have too much token inflation. They don't have that much new supply hitting the market all the time. That's why they can keep their value to a degree, at least relative to most altcoins, especially the inflationary altcoins. And this is a very broad effect. Have a look at this, right? Bitcoin roughly doubled in the last year. But how many of the medium-sized altcoins doubled in the last year? Let's have a look at the altcoins at rank 300 to 400. So altcoins that are relatively small still, that might have upside potential. How many did more than 100%? The answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 altcoins that did better, and there is 92 altcoins that did worse than Bitcoin during the time. And the problem really is survivorship bias. There are a few altcoins that still perform well, but how likely is it that we're going to pick the needle in the haystack? Say the one token, the ACT token, that did 1,457%. When you're buying an altcoin, is it more likely that you're going to get this one, or is it more likely that you're going to pick a few of those red ones? The problem is especially bad once you've got a diversified altcoin portfolio, because then you're losing a lot of the gains even if you pick one right winner. My approach is to flip this exactly around. When most altcoins underperform, and especially the altcoins that are very inflationary, that tend to go down, I don't just stay away, I see this as market inefficiency, as in there's enough retail investors that still buy those tokens that keep the price comparatively high, and then we can bet on falling prices of those altcoins and make money as they go down. The problem again is still, of course, correlation, right? When all of crypto is going up, even the crappiest of the altcoins will go up to a degree as well. So we have to hedge ourselves against the macro. So we can basically flip charts like this. Have a look at Bitcoin relative to DYDX, or have a look at Bitcoin relative to 1inch, or have a look at Bitcoin relative to Optimism. The charts are all the same and we can get exactly that kind of return. This is what I'm personally doing already for the last 4 years. And this is the result I got. Had I just dollar cost average into Bitcoin, I would have gotten the return with this gray line. But because I also bet on falling prices of the very crappy inflationary altcoins at the same time, I got the return in black over here. I'm sharing all the trades that I make, and I also opened a copy trading vehicle. The demand had been so high that I had to close it, unfortunately, but I've already traded with that for a month. And that month went very well. Annualized, we're already at 74%, and we had a maximum drawdown of the capital of only 2.6%. So this is very nice constant gains. Very much in line with what those charts here imply. Because again, this is not just random luck, this is not just timing the market. This is betting on the structure of the market because of the high token inflation everywhere that depresses prices. So I'm sharing all my trades, for example, over here on July 13th, how I've shorted WorldCoin. WorldCoin also has terrible tokenomics. And so the community simply copy trades, also comes up with own trading ideas, and there's real nice gains to be made. But what matters much more than the individual trade is, of course, the long term. I've done this for 4 years. I'm now doing this for the members automatically for 1 month. I'll continue to do this. I'll continue to share the performance here on this channel as well. I'm very confident in the strategy. I'm very confident that when you follow trades like this, that you will make money. And so here's everything you have to do. You just get into premium and you watch 2 videos. One of them being using perpetual futures on Hyperliquid. The other one being risk management with relative valuation bets. It's 1 hour in total of content. Afterwards, you know exactly how to set up trades like this. Once you have watched those 2 videos and you've joined the community, I will send you a direct message with my favorite trade right now. If you do not make money with that favorite trade in the span of the month that you signed up for, then I will refund your membership fee 100%, no questions asked. You will have premium for free. You can watch all the tutorials for free. I'm okay to take that risk because, again, some of those relative valuation trades, they simply go up very consistently without too much volatility. So here's the price for premium. It's currently $125 per month. Feel free to simply sign up, watch all the tutorials, learn everything, start trading yourself, start making your first profitable trade. If the first trade is not profitable, you get the money back. If you want to continue copy trading me, of course, then you have to sign up for a bit longer. But again, I do believe very much so, if you've got a crypto portfolio that's not just a few $100s, but a few $1,000s, you will make that money back very quickly. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. A link to premium pops up directly over here. Just click on that. It will lead you to the website. See you next time on YouTube, or see you in premium. Cheers.